started as a dream come true. My business, a small but thriving online store that specialized in custom-designed clothing, had been growing steadily. The orders were pouring in, customers loved our products, and everything seemed perfect. At least that's what I thought. Enter my stepsister, Olivia. When my mom married her father, I wasn't sure what to expect. Olivia and I were about the same age, and though we didn't grow up together, she seemed harmless enough. In the beginning, she'd drop by to visit me occasionally, always with a smile. She'd ask questions about my business, but I just thought she was curious, maybe looking for a hobby or career path for herself. But I should have been more cautious. One afternoon, as I sat at my desk reviewing the latest design proposals, Olivia came into my office, her eyes wide with excitement. "Hey, I was thinking, why don't you let me handle the marketing for your store? I have this great idea for expanding your reach. You know, a new look for your brand." She was practically bouncing with enthusiasm. I hesitated, but then again, I hadn't been able to find anyone with her energy. She seemed eager, and I thought maybe it would take some of the weight off my shoulders. After all, managing the creative side of the business was enough work, and if she could handle marketing, why not give it a shot? The first few weeks were fine. She posted some pictures on social media, launched a few campaigns, and we saw a slight increase in engagement. I started to think maybe she really did know something about marketing. But then things started to go downhill fast. Olivia's great idea turned out to be a disaster. She convinced me to offer a huge discount on our most popular items. The catch? She didn't consult with me on the pricing or the impact it would have on our margins. I didn't realize until too late that we were losing money on every sale. Customers were flocking in, but the profits were non-existent. I tried to stay calm, thinking it was a temporary glitch. But then Olivia began changing the entire aesthetic of our online presence. She swapped out our carefully curated brand colors, replacing them with a neon green and pink theme that I could only describe as garish. The website became a chaotic mess, hard to navigate, and no longer felt like the polished, professional brand we had spent years cultivating. But the real damage came when she collaborated with influencers without running it by me. Olivia had worked with a few up-and-coming influencers, but she never set up contracts or discussed how they would promote our brand. These influencers posted about our products, but the content was poorly executed. Bad lighting, weird angles, and some even tagged the wrong account. The worst part? Some of the influencers had controversial reputations, and it started affecting our public image. As a result, sales plummeted. Customers began questioning the quality of our products, and soon, we had to deal with refunds, complaints, and a flood of negative reviews. I confronted Olivia, my frustration boiling over. "What did you do?" I demanded. "This is a disaster." Her face flushed, but she stubbornly shrugged. "I was just trying to help. If you didn't want my input, you should have said something earlier." She sounded defensive, but I could see the hints of guilt in her eyes. I should have seen it coming. Olivia was always looking for a way to prove herself, but she had no real understanding of how to manage a business. Her approach to marketing wasn't strategic, it was impulsive, flashy, and reckless. I spent weeks trying to clean up the mess she'd left behind, recovering customer trust and trying to fix the website. I had to pull back from many of the influencer deals and issue refunds where necessary. The financial damage was bad enough, but the emotional toll was worse. I felt like my dream was slipping through my fingers because I had trusted someone who didn't understand what it took to run a business. Eventually, I sat down with her and explained how her actions had hurt the business. She apologized, but the damage had been done. Our relationship had changed. I no longer saw her as a helpful stepsister, but someone who had caused irreparable harm. I realized, perhaps too late, that there are some things you just can't entrust to family, especially when they think they know better than you. In the end, my business didn't collapse, but it took a long time to recover. Olivia and I never really talked much after that. She found another venture to focus on, and I went back to rebuilding my brand, this time a little more cautious about who I let into my business. Sometimes I wonder how different things could have been if I hadn't let my guard down. But life, as they say, is all about learning from mistakes, and this one was a hard lesson in trust.